Hey, this is Srinivas Tamada, founder of 9listener.info. A long time back, I posted an article about Ionic 3 and Angular, creating a mobile app. It start with a welcome page and the login and the logout functionality. And most of the users are requesting me that to create a new Ionic-based same welcome page because Ionic has updated a lot of things. Right now it is Ionic 5 and it updated with Angular 8 and it comes with the default routes and the guards. So this video we are trying to achieve this kind of application. If you look at this, it comes with the slides, and then once you start, like, you have a default login page and the sign up page. And right now, like, I just connected directly inside, it goes to uh, the inside with the tabs, because default Ionic project comes with the tabs, but how we're going to modify all of these I'm going to explain. And this is going to be a complete big series. I'm going to uh, cover like login functionality, logout, and kind of how to update the feed and writing a comments and the camera options, uh, um, and the API connections, all of things I'm planning to do a series. So let's quickly start this project, and so let's open your terminal, and and before that, I think if you look at this Ionic instructions, you have to update your Ionic CLI. So make sure check your node version with the latest one. I mean, like, if it is 11 plus, it's fine. And the Ionic should be like, it's 5.2, it's the latest one. So you can just simply start creating a Ionic app. Like, start with, I'm going to create a project called Mango because the old one is, I created like a banana. So I'm just creating this project with tabs. It's going to pull up all the dependencies, and it comes with the default Ionic tabs project. And on top of that, we're going to modify the actual logic for the welcome page and the home tabs. Now the Ionic project has been created. If you look at the project, it got created with the Mango folder. Let's go here. This is the files we got it, and let me open this with the Visual Code. So if you look at that, this is the default project structure, and if you look at here, it is the tabs that by default, like, if you look at this module, this is app module. It's directly connecting to the tabs module, and then the tabs have the routes, and this tabs route is launching all these tab 1 2 3. But some reason I didn't like this structure. I'm going to change it in a different way. I'm not going to use all of these. I'm going to delete in future. So I'm planning to, if you look at this article, like, I'm planning to design this project in this way because it's index in the home. All the authenticated pages comes under this, and unauthenticated, like login, forget, and sign up, comes under the index. The same way I'm going to do it. If you want, like, you just look at this article and you'll understand more about that. I now come to this, and now I'm going to create some folders for like pages and services and the components. That way you can organize the project pretty well. Let me create a folder called pages. Basically in the Ionic we call it as pages. It's actually a component, but for the understanding the main files we make it as a pages. And another folder called components, and it sits all the micro components, and the web components will sit here. And the other one is called services. If you have any authenticated stuff, any of the backend connections or any other control logic will be here. And I'm going to write one more thing called guards. As guards, we're going to maintain all the route guard files. Basically kind of a service files, but rename it as a guards, and using these guards we are going to protect the routes. That I'll explain it later. And now, like, let's go to the project. Like, there is a command. Let me expand this little bit. There is a command, so Ionic generate, and I told you that like I'm going to create a default home. This is actually all the authenticated pages comes under this home. So this is the base container, and the same way I'm going to for index. Under this, like, I'm going to create login, forgot, and the sign up. If you look at this, there is a login and the home. If you look at the tabs, the same way. Let me run this project, and how this works actually I didn't show it. Like, you can just give Ionic serve, and this will run at default port is like 8100. So this is a by default view, and but we are going to replace everything from this. Like, if you want for the better view, like, you can look it into the mobile view and you can choose whatever you want, or else like you can just enable it in the responsive mode. So this one we're going to do it in a what exactly I showed it before. So that's what we're going to achieve. Now under the pages, we're going to create all the pages like the login, sign up, and the welcome. The same way for all the home pages as well. Let me create those, like Ionic generate in the page, in the pages, because I'm going to maintain all the pages under the pages folder. It's called login, and the same way sign up and the welcome. So if you look at the pages, so it got created, 3 of them, and the same way I'm going to create it for the inside one. I call it as a feed. It's kind of a social project, so I'm going to give notifications. I think it's a notifications and the messages. So I'm going to delete this because I gave the wrong one. So, and if you look at this, as so many files got updated, and if you look at the route, this basically like these are the changes happen whenever you add something. It automatically takes everything here. So anyway, we are not going to use this because it's kind of a lazy loading project. So let me get off, and still it is connecting to the tabs. Nothing is going to change. We just created the files. Now if you look at this project, like, and you can see the type of this project, it's kind of a lazy loading tree. If you look at this, it's come to the tabs page, and the tabs page is loading all of these files. Let me show it another way. So this is how it is loading. So we are not going to disturb this kind of a structure, but we're going to implement it in a different way. So let me put it back in a normal way. So anyway, I'm going to stop this for now because it's going to kill the memory. So yep. And now come to this project, and now if you look at this tabs module closely, this is actually controlling everything. So instead of this, we're going to redirect to the new routes. It's called index in the home. I'm going to create new routes for this. I'm going to call it as index.router.ts, and the same way for the home page, like, home.router.ts. So right now these are the empty files. So I'm going to use this tabs code, and I'm going to replace it here. Let's copy this dependencies here, and then I'm going to create, and instead of this I'm going to change it to the home router, and here by default it is home. I'm going to change, and this is now home page. So I'm going to drop off this. The same way I'm going to use the same thing here as well. So this is called index router. So I'm going to give this for empty because it's by default page, it comes to the index page. So under this, like, let me import this, and I'm going to drop off this. If you look at that, so this is a pretty simple, straightforward. All authenticated pages, it comes under home slash, but all, like, unauthenticated, like, you can directly access login and welcome and sign up. Now I'm going to construct all the unauthenticated pages here, like welcome, login, and sign up. So for that you need to use the children. So under this we're going to import all the pages like path. So by default for the welcome page I'm not giving anything because the default page is the welcome page, and then it's a load children function, and then it's import, and you'll find this documentation. So you have to point out your pages and what page you're going to load is, and then the response module is m dot welcome module. Yes, let me format this the same way you have to do it for the login and the sign up. So this is the login. If anybody types /login, it comes to the login page. Make sure when you copy paste it, you have to be very careful. And this is sign up. Yeah, forgot about the errors. Maybe I made a mistake in the spelling. So those are not the real errors. So yeah, this is a pretty good structure. And we constructed all of these pages. The same way I'm going to do it for the home routes as well. The same thing, I'm going to copy paste it. So the home, and then it comes to the feed. I mean, like the domain /home/feed, and you're pointing to the feed page. If you look at that, all the pages under this, that's what I am pointing here, and this is a feed page. The same way for notifications in the messages, and the final one is called for settings. All the authenticated routes has been constructed here, and basically here we're going to activate the guards, but that I'll explain later. The same way for the index. And now let's start the project and what is actually happening. And one more thing is, now we are going to divert. So we're going to divert from this. So we are not going to use this anymore. Instead of that, I'm going to use index, and this is index, and this is index. And I'm going to connect the home as well here, and the home. So let's start the project and see what actually happening. And let's start the project and see what is the exact output right now. So I'm starting this project again. So if you look at the project, this is what the output right now, but this is not the expected one. So there is some more modifications we need to do quickly. So now we are going to import this index router into the index module. And I think I made a mess here. It's called index router. And come back. And if you look at this, it's by defaultly generated one. I'm not going to use this route. Instead of that, we are going to point out the index router. So this is by default is index router. Let's save it. Now this is connected this actual router. The default one is index page. It comes, then it loads this child component. This is called welcome page. So by default, welcome page should open. And then if you give the login and the sign up here, I think I messed up. And the same way the sign up will come here. The same way we're going to do it for the home module as well. So I'm going to delete the default routes. Instead, I'm going to import the home router. So save it and let's run the project. We'll see is there any issues here. It looks good. And now come to the project and you will look at the thing. There's nothing else loading. And there is one more thing to do, because so under this pages we're going to load everything. So the Angular concept is we need to do the router outlet. So basically all the router outlets comes here. Let's save it. And if you look at the project now, see the welcome page came up. And if you give the login came up, and the sign up came up. And now we need to work on the home page. So the home came up now, and the same way for feed, because we need to modify the feed because the home HTML we haven't configured it. So this is also we need to do it the same way, but instead of that we're going to load the tabs. The tab structure is a little different, so try to copy paste this under the home. So let's copy paste that in the home, and instead of that, this is the tab 1, tab 2 and tab 3. Instead of that, I'm going to give the feed, and this is called feed. And the icons, you'll find a lot of icons. Let me show that. So here you'll find a lot of icons, and you can search for feed. So I'm going to use, it's called paper. So let's go to the Visual Code. I'm changing to paper. And then this is messages. Let's find out the name. So I'm going to give the label name, and this is called notifications. Let's copy this for this, and notifications, and the last one is settings. I think these are the small letters. So these are the paths, so pointing to these names. Make sure you use these names. So come back to the home page. Yes, looks good. Home, and this is settings, and I know this icon name is cog. Let's go find out for the notification. So I'm going to use this one for notifications. Okay, that's good. So I'm going to use the same thing and paste it here. Let's save it and look at the app now. See, if you look at the home page, it's come feed, messages, and notification, and the settings. Let's make it in the mobile view. And if anybody opens up by default, so there's a welcome page and the login page and sign up. So of course, so all the authenticated pages comes under home/feed. So, and one more thing, like all these guards, everything, I'll explain it in the future, but now the main focus is to modify the welcome page. So by default is a welcome page now. So let's use the slides here. So we're going to modify this way. If you look at this, it's pretty cool, right? So the welcome page, I'm going to use the slides. If you find out this Ionic Slides, you'll find some of the code here. So this is the code, and now I'm going to use the components. I'm going to create child components so that everything, it will be organized. So before that, we need to create a module for the component so that that module has all the child components. So the component module, you can include it anywhere in the pages so that you can import all the child components. So I'm going to create a module, and then I'm giving components. So this automatically recognizes folder. Under that, it's going to create a, I think I gave a spell mistake. So if you look at that, it understands the components, and under that create a module file. Basically here you're going to declare and exports the child components. So now under the components, I'm going to create a child components. Like, let's create a component, and under the components, and now I'm going to give slides. If you use this component, right, it'll not come with a module file. It's kind of a web component, so you can use wherever you want. And the same way I'm going to create one more thing called logo. So because we need a logo and you can use this logo wherever you want. And anyway, for this project we need a start button. It going to place it on the welcome page so that it starts from the navigation. Yeah, so I created three components. So these three components I'm going to import it under this, so that let me import the components like slides component, and the same way for start component and the logo component. I think you need to export everything for a public so that anybody can use it. So now we are going to use this components module. Wherever you want, you can import this so that any page can access all of these components. Now come to the slides. So let's close everything, come to the slides. So this is the HTML page where we have this. Let me copy, paste this here, and go to the components. I'm going to include these options. So I think the slides came up. Let's save it and make sure this component should import. If you look at these errors, because Ionic come up with a default some modules. If you look at any auto-generated ones, it comes with Ionic module and the form modules. It support all the forms and the common modules, and the Ionic modules is related to the Ionic. And all of these modules you have to import in the. Yeah, let's import this slides module under the welcome page. So now go to the welcome. So this is a welcome page. Now this is a lazy loading concept, so let me go to the home module. So now we need to call this slides under the welcome page. So this is the tag. You can directly call it under the welcome page. Let me open this welcome page. So this is the page and this is the HTML. So I don't want the title here. So under the content, and now if you look at the module, and here is the we need to import that particular module. It's called components module. Otherwise the welcome will not understand this app slides, so we are directly importing this component modules under the welcome page. So it's called component, and import this component module. Yes, looks good. And now this is understandable. Let's open the project and see. So now this is a welcome page. It's come with slide 1 and slide 2. And why we are everything, and make sure, let's see how this routing works. If you look at that, this is the new structure we did. Initially the default routes are index page or home page, and then index is loading all this in lazy loading way, login and sign up, and home is loading all of this without disturbing the structure. So this is how the pages are loading. So now we are going to modify a little bit of this because if you look at the slides, and this is what slide 1 and slide 2, slide 3, instead of that I'm going to change this to H2, because if you are using for web as well, this one you can use it for web too, because that way you can then you have to give titles like welcome to Mango, and if you want you can give a little description here using a p tag, and a demo project, a demo Ionic, and the same way here you can give something like social project, and then and something else, like I'm just giving my domain name. And let's look at this. See, looks like this now. So now we're going to modify. So we need to adjust the design a little bit this way, but the default one, it comes like this. And now let's go to the slides.sass. So I'm going to, because we're going to control this Ionic slides, so I'm going to use Ion slide. So this is a sass, so I'm giving a little bit of padding first, and then let's give 160px and the 20px. This is for top and the bottom and the sides. Let's look at the project now. See, a little bit got moved. Yes, but still, I think something wrong with Ionic 5. I think some reason, like if you're giving h2 and the p tag, it's still going to the flex boxes, but you need to apply something like display block so that all of the structures will come under that, so that all of the things divide it into this way. So yeah, so a little bit okay. And if you want to modify the font size, let's go to, we are using h2 tag, let's add a font size some 36px and the font weight and the bold. So if you look at this, we're only touching this, so yeah, pretty looks good now. And now I'm going to add a small start button here, so that like initially when user comes here, then he navigate to the login page. Whenever user start clicking on the start button, from this login, and it once the login success, then we are going to the home page, I mean the home feed page, and here user going to access all of this. So that's what the project we are going to achieve. And I forgot that right now we don't need these folders anymore because we are not going to use it. So try to delete off all of this 4. I'm moving to trash. And now I'm going to display a small icon. I mean the project icon. So I have a small logo. Just copy this logo and copy into the, here's the assets folder. Go here, if you want you can create a new folder called images. Under that I'm going to, so I created a, I just pointed out this here. And now comes to the components. There is a logo component. There is a, here like you can just simply like image src, and it's come from assets, and then images and the logo .png, and give it some alt name called project mango project logo. Just save it, and now come to the, and here I'm going to import the app logo. If you look at the name, tag name is app logo. Let's go and see the project. So if you look at that, the logo came here. If you want to control the image size, come here and you can just, because here is the image tag, you can just simply add image and the width like some 60px. Let's save it and come back. Yeah, so little small now. Yeah, this way like you can manage it. And the same way now comes to the start button. So this is the start button. I'm going to include it in the home as well. So now go to the Ionic buttons, and here you'll find a lot of buttons here. So I'm going to use this block button. So if you look at this, this is what I'm going to use. Let's go here. This is called start button, and I'm going to give the color. You can look at the colors in the variables file. So here all the colors, and right now I'm going to use some warning, or if you want you can create a new one as well. So let me use this for now. So start, and then whenever you user clicks it, it goes to click function, and then it navigates to login page. So that function I'm going to create under the start, and for this we need a router. So private, and import the router module, and then you can call the this dot router dot navigate, and then this goes to the login page. Now we are going to use this tag, come to the welcome page, and after slides, because this is the default one for all 3 slides. So now go to the project. So if you look at that, so the start button stays here, but you can slide all of this, and whenever a user clicks on that, it's go to the login page. So if you look at the variables as, there is instructions for theming. If you want, you can create your own themes, and like this there are by default themes. The same way I just created my own theme, like for the mango theme. So I just want to copy paste that under here. So this is what my new theme. So basically it's the new colors. In the same way you have to specify that, so that like you can use this mango wherever you want. Let's go to the start button and let me apply that. I mean, instead of color, I'm going to give mango, and now it's going to come to the login and the sign up page. There is a header file, there is a color. I'm going to change it to the yellow background header, the same with sign up. I'm saving all of them, and let's come back, and if you look at the project, it comes to the yellow background now. So the button also a little bit modified, and same way you can apply it for inside pages too, and feed all of them. You just go to the every page and try to add the toolbar color as a mango, so that way you can do it. And if you want to change this background color, I mean this, by default it is a blue color. If you want to change it to your own, there is a small kind of setting. So for the toolbars, like you have to use this code, and I'm applying for the toolbar as a mango. So I'm just saving this and come back. See, the yellow color came now, and come back because it's not highlighting. Let's go to the home. So this has all the tabs, and you can apply color is dark. So if you look at that, it got a little bit so this is what pretty much. And let's work on the login and the sign up. I'll quickly add the input fields. Now let's work on the login page. I'm just giving the login as a caps, and then under the content, like I'm going to give, it's a form. It has the username and the password. So I'm going to create ion list. Whenever you want to make it as a grid, the ion list is kind of a div tag and the ion item, and then basically it's come with ion label. So this is called username. There are different kind of positions available. It's kind of floating, stacked, and fixed. I'm going to use this, and then ion input. You will see all these instructions in the documentation. Then this is the name called type. The same item I'm going to create it for the password, and this is a password. So under this I'm going to create a button. It's called iron button, and the shape is round, and the color is mango. And if you want, you can give success. It comes basically like the green one, and the button name is called. So let's save it and see how that looks like. So this is what the output right now, and if you want, you can add a little bit of padding on top, or you can add some title. So here, like, you can directly import the app logo, and then h1 like sign in. So let's import the components module here, and let's see the output. So I think I'm going to add a little bit of new div tag. I'm just introducing a new class called center. I'm going to create this global style. You can write the center here. So this is a global file, so you can use the text. So you can use wherever you want. You can use this class the same way you can create like multiple custom classes here. and if you want you can add a little bit of padding on top of that. And the same way, I'm just trying to use the same code. I'm going to use it for the sign up page, and here is a sign up, and it's a create account. And let's go and see and this is the design for sign up page. You can interconnect these two pages by adding a small links. Like you can create a ion item and the hyperlink, and then it's called router link. So you can give sign up and then create account for the login. The same way for the sign up. This is the login and sign in. Already you have account, then sign in. So let's go back. Yeah, here is the link. It's called create account, and when you click back to the sign in, it goes back to the login page. You can drop off the lines using the lines equal to none. The same way you can apply it for the login. Yeah, I think there is no lines for now. And pretty much we covered the welcome page, login and sign up. Let's convert this project into a iOS and the Android app. Let's go to the, no, you have to do the Ionic Build prod. So this is going to create the production build. It creates a www folder. This is actually a distribution folder. If you want to host this on the web, you can copy paste this wherever you want. I mean the Apache server or Node server, and even you can use the Firebase or Amazon S3. So this is compiling all of the TypeScript files and it converts into a JavaScript. If you look at the file structure here, you'll notice it's going to create a www folder. So if you look at this, there is a www folder got created. This is the actual distributed. Now we're going to create an iOS and the Android one. The Ionic came up with the Capacitor. This is alternate for the Cordova, and this is pretty good. I think Ionic also recommending to use this. So I'm going to use the Capacitor. Let's open this and just clear it off. So Ionic Capacitor and the add iOS. So what happened is it's going to take the www distribution folder. Based on that, it's going to generate the iOS, and this command is going to use the www distribution folder, and it's going to install the capacitor libraries, and then it's going to create the iOS dependencies. Or else you can use these commands to generate to iOS, Android and Electron. Even you can convert this Ionic app into a desktop as well. I already covered. If you look at my previous articles, you'll understand more. And so if you look at the file structure, there is a iOS folder got created. Yes, the same way you can create the Android. So now the both commands, it got created the iOS app things and the Android files too. And now if you want to, right now this, I'm going to show it on the iOS. Open iOS, and this need a Xcode, and this is going to launch the Xcode, and you can just directly trigger this play button, and you can choose your what kind of device you want to choose. It is now building it and then going to launch the emulator, and you can see here, and by default it's going to the social project. Instead of that, we need to make it the slide one. That is the one setting we need to do. And you can look at the memory as well, how much memory it is taking, and you can calculate all the stuff. And once it comes to the login and sign in, you can see, yeah, I missed it to go to the home page. Let's quickly modify that, and let's show you that things as well. Let's come back to the project. Let me close this and even close the Xcode. Now first come to the slides. It is actually initial slide is 1. Instead of that, you have to make it 0. That way it starts from the first page, I mean the first slide. And if you want, you can increase the speed, or you can, if you don't want, you can delete it off. It automatically takes the default one. Let's modify the login page, and once you click on the sign in button, it directly jump into the home page. but in future we're going to cover the API connections, everything. So let me quickly modify the login HTML. I'm going to introduce an action called click, and the function is like login, just a login. So basically this login is like connecting the API and get the information from the database, and then it's going to redirect to the home page. But right now we don't have much time. I'm going to cover that in the next video. So this one I'm directly giving navigate. So before that we need to import the private router and then use the router and the navigate and directly jump to the home and the feed. Whenever user clicks it, it comes to the login. So now come back here, and now how you going to update the iOS everything. So first thing is Ionic Build prod. So this is going to update the www. We're going to change the distribution folder. Now the new distribution folder has been created, and now so the iOS we already generated it, so and a little bit more process. And iOS we generated already, so we need to copy this www to the iOS. Further there is a small command, so we need to do that. So now the operation has been completed. We need to update the iOS thing. So Ionic Capacitor and copy iOS. So this what happened is we have already iOS folder. We did some changes that basically it actually copies the www folder to the iOS app in public. The same way you can do it for Android. Now open iOS. It's going to launch the Xcode and you will see the new changes there. And you can connect your own device with a lightning cable and you can see the output as well. Just the same way you can just hit the play button. It's going to launch the simulator. In the next video I'm going to explain the startup screen as well. All of things how we can do with capacitor, because I already explained with the Cordova, but now the Cordova is outdated. So we need to update with the capacitor. So now if you look at that, it starts with this screen and you can see the slides. You can give some more information here, and this is basically a sign in and sign up page. Then once I click the sign in, basically it connects to the API, but right now I'm directly jumping into the home page to see the view how it looks like. And this is what the pretty much video. The next video I'm going to little more enhancements for this, like how to apply the guards, how to protect the pages once the user is already logged in, how we're going to jump into the home page, and the first time user we need to show the welcome. All of things I'm going to cover it in the next video. And thanks a lot for watching this video.